Planning funeral arrangements during normal times is an emotional and draining process, but during a pandemic, it becomes even more daunting. Julie invited Robert Stockwell, the owner and director of Riendeau-Mulvey Funeral Home and Southeast Funeral Home and Cremation Services, via Zoom, to give us some insight into how loved ones are navigating this process.
Welcome, Robert. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you're a funeral director, and in mortuary science seems like a very interesting career path. And I'm wondering, how did you get involved in this?
So not everybody generally just wakes up and says that, I want to be a funeral director. Generally, you usually have family in the business or someone that works at a funeral home. It just so happens I knew someone that worked at a funeral home, so I grew up around it. And I've always been compassionate and I've always liked dressing nice. So, something that I've always wanted to do.
So it was a good fit. Yeah.
It was a good fit. Yes.
Now, you're in an industry that a lot of people would not choose. How has this been rewarding to you?
So it's actually very rewarding. Being able to comfort someone during an arrangement conference and walk them through the whole process, it's extremely rewarding. There's different aspects of making arrangements, the process of the preparation, and when somebody's sick, they're going through a lot. It could be 2 to 6 months somebody's on hospice, so that takes quite a toll on someone, especially the deceased. So being able to prepare someone to make them look as they did before they were sick, and just seeing the family's expression on their face is extremely comforting.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you're really a counselor to them too for their grief, which is great. Now, what kind of precautions during COVID-19 are you taking for yourself and your staff?
So we take our staff's temperature every day that they come in. A lot of hand washing, a lot of social distancing, just the everyday things that you have to do to stay safe. And we have barriers for the families and also our staff as well, and a lot of digital online arrangements that helps our staff as well, so they don't have to see as many people.
Now, do a lot of people I know of funerals I've been to, there's like a video or a slideshow that kind of outlines a person's life. Is that being done still, or is that being done more online?
Yeah, so we do it during the visitation. We have several TVs that are on the wall that we can put a lot of different photos on, and it actually goes on our website as well. So it really tells a great story of that person's life. It's something that I recommend to all families to do. We make it very easy for them to be able to do it too, uploading all the pictures, and
Sure.
a lot of people.
You do that for them. You just take that burden away from them and you put it together, which is wonderful. What kind of limitations do you have in terms of indoor wakes at this point?
So it's lightened up a little bit. Back in June, we could only have 10 people at a time in the building, and that's very difficult for a family. Right now, we can have 40% of our occupancy, just like church. So, other than that, all the restrictions, such as social distancing, we just keep a count on how many people we have in the building at a time. And people will kind of go in one way and then go out of the funeral home a different way. So it keeps everybody distant.
Okay, and everybody keeps 6 feet apart as they're in the facility. That's good. Now, what about this is an odd question, but has the number of deaths that you've been servicing increased greatly over the last 9 months from the same time frame in years past?
It has. It's increased quite a bit. Not so much now, but when COVID first came out, it was drastically. I bet it doubled in numbers for us. So it was very busy when COVID first hit. Not so much now.
Were those all COVID-related deaths?
Most of them were COVID-related deaths. But again, it doesn't seem, we don't get as many COVID deaths now. So
which is good news.
it is, yes.
Overall,
It is. I know you see the numbers going up for people that are getting sick, but luckily, not as many people are dying from it.
right, exactly. And finally, how are you able to provide comfort to people, not only during the process, but is there anything afterwards?
We have a lot of aftercare uh, for grief counseling, and we just try to make everything as easy as possible to comfort the family. Again, with the live streaming, the services, the videos stay up on our website, online guest book. Families need that kind of stuff.
Of course they do.
They need the support of other family members and friends. That's what they're used to.
Absolutely. And are many people wanting to defer this actual process, like to hold off on having a service or interning their loved ones if they choose to do that?
Some people are, not as many as you would think, because we can have 40% of our capacity. That really does help. So people kind of come in, pay their respects, and then they usually go right out. So that gives everybody a chance to be able to pay their respects and comfort the family.
And if anyone is going through a situation right now where they have a loved one at life's end and it's inevitable that the person will die, is there any advice you can give them about funerals and services and things like that?
Uh, you know, because of COVID, people aren't working, so everything is very expensive. So my recommendation is to call around and check pricing with other funeral homes. I know that seems strange to some people, but uh, you know, other funeral homes are a lot less expensive than different funeral homes, especially in the same area. You can
Right.
have services that are half the cost of what someone else is. So I really recommend to just call around and check with different funeral homes.
And that's good advice, Robert, because now every penny counts. Like you said, there are a lot of people that aren't working. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been enlightening, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Back to you, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Julie, and thank you, Robert, for your insight and advice.